Hello everyone, Guillaume Letzman here, host of the E-Commerce Wizards podcast, where I feature leaders in e-commerce and business. Today's guest is Tyler Sperry. He's from a quite famous company, America's Test Kitchen, which has run over 23 seasons of its TV show, and has the other TV show also called Cook's Country, which is running its 15th season. So a pretty well-known company, and they happen to be running on Adobe Commerce, which was formerly known as Magento Enterprise, as their e-commerce platform. And today's topic will be a merchant testimonial using Adobe Commerce. So the good, the bad, the ugly, uncensored, unfiltered. And we'll see what Tyler has to say about this. All right, Tyler, thanks for being here today.
Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Can you give us a brief overview of your responsibility at America's Test Kitchen?
Sure, yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm the director of e-commerce and affiliates at ATK for short. And what I oversee, so the main part of my team's responsibilities is really just overseeing the Magento platform. So everything from the back end, so as simple as setting up the products and promotional activities, all the way to kind of the development roadmap, the new features, working on bugs. The list goes on. Anything that has to do with the back end, we oversee. We work in day to day. The other piece that my team is responsible for is any product on our shop, except our cookbooks. We actually source. We work with vendors. We work with merchants. We work with we source all those products ourselves. So any branded merchandise you see, we're internally designed and sourced. So there's the product piece, and along with that comes all the promotional management. So we work very closely with our marketing team on all of the campaigns and any products that you see launched within the shop. We also oversee all logistics and operations. So we are the day-to-day contacts with our 3PL, who's based in Ohio. So we, from order management to packaging to reporting, analytics, anything that has to do with operations, we manage as well. And then the last piece is that affiliates piece of our business. So we have a pretty robust affiliates program. Another, you mentioned our TV shows, but another very big part of our business is our consumer reporting. So we have a reviews team who tests kitchen equipment every day, all day. And we go out there and we say, hey, this is the best food processor, and here's why. Here's the litany of tests we put it through. It's a very robust program. We put equipment through the ringer, and we kind of come out with, hey, this is the best. This is what you should have. So we have a program that links to Amazon or other affiliate partners if people want to purchase those pieces of equipment through one of our websites. And we we have that affiliate program and have those commissions through partners like Amazon.
Pretty cool.
So I think those are the four buckets I think that fall under my team.
And I think there's more coming up on the TV stuff. I don't know if you're allowed to disclose that.
Oh yeah, the new TV show. So that actually launched on February 9th. So I think the 6th episode has launched or is coming out on Friday. So brand new for ATK. We just launched in partnership with Amazon Studios. It's called America's Test Kitchen, the next generation. So it is first for ATK. So it's a cooking competition. And the winner of that series becomes a cast member on America's Test Kitchen. They get a cookbook deal. So pretty much they get a job.
Yeah.
A job of a lifetime. So they're all home cooks. So not professional cooks, home cooks who come to our studio. So everything is filmed in our office, in our kitchens, and they compete for a job on the TV show. So it's fun. It's a great show. So definitely
and with a big cash prize as well, right?
Yeah, and there's so there's a TV show, there's a spot on the TV show, there's a cookbook deal, and $100,000 cash prize for the winner.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's very fun.
I like the business model that you guys totally test stuff, and then anything that you sell, unlike let's say a lot of merchants that just like get a few big catalog from some distributors, and then they just push, let's say, 10,000 product, 100,000 product, whatever, like this, that they've never used, never tried, never tested. I like the quality approach that you guys have here of you endorse this product, say we've tested all the food processor or whatever, and we believe this one is the best. Here's the pros, the con, and so on. So this is pretty interesting as a business model. I believe quality will tend to always stick as a winning business model.
For sure.
So now, if we dive into our main topic, let's start chronologically. Do you remember why you guys have picked Magento Enterprise as the former name? Now it's called Adobe Commerce. You guys remember why this one was selected over, let's say, other platforms?
Yeah, so I've been at ATK now almost 7 years. So when I started at ATK, we did have kind of like, I would say, like a bookstore. It was very simple, but it was on the Magento 1 platform. So even prior to me coming to ATK, we were already utilizing Magento 1 in a very simple way to sell our books directly to our subscribers. Um, so when I came in, it was that, we had this idea to kind of expand our e-commerce business, and we did some work looking at Shopify, looking at, thinking about staying with Magento. And what we decided to do is actually a two-prong approach. We had our bookstore. We didn't want to disrupt that. So we actually stood up a smaller shop with the equipment and the new branded merchandise we wanted to test on Shopify. Because Shopify is, it's easy to use. You can kind of quickly stand up a shop if you have the infrastructure, the resources to do it. So in about a month, we stood up the Shopify shop as an interim kind of test. Once we knew we wanted to move forward with that, we then redesigned and stood up a brand new shop on Magento 1. And the reason we decided to stay on Magento is really due to the flexibility of the platform. If you have the coding skills, or you have developers you can work with, you can really make Magento whatever you want it to be. So that was very enticing to us. Don't get me wrong, Shopify is great. There's a lot you can do with it. I love Shopify, but for our business model, we felt Magento really was the place for us to stay. And then back in 2019, when Magento was, stopping any support on Magento 1, we were kind of forced to move into Magento 2, which was we should have done it sooner. It was a great move. The Magento 2 is, an even better platform. So we launched in 2020 our brand new shop on Magento 2. So really going back to your question, the reason we stayed on Magento was really due to the flexibility and being able to make our shop experience exactly what we wanted. We have a slightly complicated business model. So aside from the TV shows that you mentioned, we also publish sometimes up to 12 cookbooks a year. We have an online cooking school. We have our business model is all subscription based. So you have to be a subscriber to ATK in order to get our online content. So access to our recipes, access to our reviews. So there's a lot of different pieces that we need to kind of bring together. So Magento is the platform that allow us to do that exactly how we needed to do it. We work with a third-party order management company who manages all of our physical orders. So like any cookbook that's ordered, any apron that's ordered from our shop, or piece of equipment, they manage all those orders, as well as all of our renewals and our subscriptions. And we also have magazine subscriptions, which I didn't mention. So we go from everything from digital to magazines to actually selling physical product. And we really needed a tool that would allow us to stand all those different products up, but at the same time be able to expand upon those anytime we wanted to, or in any way we wanted to. And we feel Magento really allows us to do that.
Pretty neat. Yes, you're correct on this. Shopify and Magento is more or less, the flip side of the coin of each other. The more complex the project, the more it's a Magento, and the simpler the project. Even if it's a very large company, if you can have something that is simple, like a small, medium, large, red, green, blue T-shirts. Exactly. The simpler the project, the more of a Shopify it is, because Shopify is cheaper to put in place. It's cheaper to maintain. So it just makes sense if that business can run on Shopify. But if it doesn't give you the horsepower and flexibility, it goes to the other side of the spectrum, which will be a Magento and Adobe Commerce now. So you mentioned a lot of the good, and you run with the platform day to day. I don't know if there's more that you want to add to the good section before moving on to the bad, or are we part of like what's next with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a few, things that I've noticed since moving, especially to Magento 2, that I think have been really key for our business is just kind of like the built-in SEO features in Magento 2 have been really great for our business. And to the point of being able to customize and really be flexible with that, we've actually, for our own sake, we've been able to develop and make those fields required anytime we create a product. So we're never forgetting to really think about SEO, and to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward there for getting all that traffic. So we really like a lot of the features, making SEO just easy to optimize in Magento. Um, let's see, yeah, the flexibility, being able to create our own themes, kind of really design the shop experience around what we want. A big thing that we're actually tackling this year is we have our recipe sites. So we have America's Test Kitchen, Cook's Country, Cook's Illustrated. The shop experience is kind of separate from our recipe site experience, and we really want to start bringing those two experiences together and making our shop more of a resource for anyone, but a benefit for our members as well. So Magento, just based on the flexibility that it has and the work we could do there, is really going to allow us, to bring these experiences together in a seamless way. So I guess going back, yeah, it's just the flexibility, the ability to do the development we need to do, and we have a great third party partner we work with who understands our business, knows what our goals are. So we work with them, daily on just really bringing this whole experience to life. And every time we finish one project, there's another one we want to stand up. So
Yeah.
yeah, Magento just allows us to kind of continue to grow. And there's also the app piece. So there's the extension. So if we need to, we can plug into a third-party extension. If those don't give us what we want, we can work with our developers to kind of develop our own tool. So you kind of get the best of both worlds there too.
Pretty neat. Yes, it's a good summary. In business and entrepreneurship, you always have new ideas, and you invest in what works and what generates money. So it just makes sense to have a very flexible platform. You can evolve, especially at the size of companies you guys are. So you need to, of course, have the resources to be able to have people who
Yeah.
work for you to customize a platform, so you can, fully leverage it.
Yep.
One mistake that I see sometimes, companies that are too small going on to these kind of big platforms. It's really made for the mid-sized corporation and the
Yeah.
smaller enterprise grade company, if you can call it that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I would say, for anyone kind of thinking between Shopify or Magento, I really think those are the questions you have to ask yourself is like, do I have the resources or can I code myself? Because if you're a smaller business who doesn't either have the ability to work with a third party developer that is really well versed in Magento, or have the skills yourself, I don't really think you're going to get out of Magento what you need, because it does definitely require some additional resources that Shopify, depending on what you want to do with Shopify and how big you want to make it, or what, you may not get the same goals achieved
Yeah,
if
totally.
you don't have the resources to do it, for sure.
Totally agree.
This episode is brought to you by MageMontreal. If a business wants a powerful e-commerce online store that will increase their sales, or to move piled up inventory to free up cash reserves, or to automate business processes to reduce human processing errors, our company MageMontreal can do that. We've been helping e-commerce stores for over a decade. Here's the catch. We're specialized and only work on the Adobe Magento e-commerce platform, also known as Adobe Commerce. We're among only a handful of certified companies in Canada. We do everything Magento related. If you know someone who needs design, support, training, maintenance, or a new e-commerce website, email our team at support@magemontreal.com or go to magemontreal.com. That's MAGE Montreal.com.
And since you work day in, day out with Magento, is there anything that's irritating you, that's annoying, or that's bad?
All right, let's go there. Yeah, so I think that flexibility, that ability to customize whatever you want, also comes with some negatives. Just as we're just going through it this week. Actually, we just upgraded to the latest version, and all those customizations, all the different extensions we have. Anytime we update or add a new extension, there's always those bugs that pop up that are unexpected, causing checkout issues, causing some customer frustrations. So there's always kind of we're always on the lookout for that stuff, just due to our the customizations we have done, the work we have done. You never know what one project could lead to or cause an issue in another extension. So I think that is really our kind of the biggest headache that we have with Magento is just staying on top of what may happen or constantly being on the lookout or prepared for
Yeah.
little errors, little bugs. We use a great tool that kind of monitors the shop and alerts us to any potential customer friction that we may experience. But
Do you
I
want
think
to
that,
disclose which tool this is?
sure, yeah. So it's actually a tool there, also based in Canada. Noibu is the tool, and it's great. So we have our developers are tied into Noibu. We are alerted anytime there's any sort of error on our shop, whether it's a checkout area. It comes with stack trace. It has, to say it's a JavaScript error. It really gives the developers the tools to identify where that error is coming from, what that error is, and then being able to rectify those issues quickly. So I just got, and we've been using the tool for a few years now, mainly because of our setup with I mentioned our third-party order management system. We actually have our payment, our transaction, our payment widget is their third-party payment widget. So it's a plugin that we're using at checkout. So we really implemented that as part of that, just being able to monitor, customers flow through our checkout, just to make sure that, using this third-party plugin tool wasn't causing any issues with the new checkout flow we had. And it's really been a lifesaver. There's also a checkout down alert. So if our checkout goes down, we are immediately alerted to the fact that something is seriously wrong, and we're able to act quickly. The amount of bugs and issues our developers have been able to solve and how quickly they're able to solve them has really changed since implementing this tool. So I find it very valuable just from a peace of mind too, like knowing that things are working as they should be working.
Yeah, when you get to that point, you should have automated testing daily. So you have that robot just running, the script just running.
Yep.
Can it check out? Yes or no? Can it create a new account? Yes or no? Can it reset a password? Are emails being
Exactly.
sent by the server? Yes or no? So you get to that extra level, because I remember some case of smaller company, and it took like a few months before anybody noticed that emails were not being sent. It's like, oh, that's why there's so many requests for a copy of the invoice on customer support. Not that many people cared about the invoice actually, but some people did want it, and took a few months to figure out, because by default, there's no system that I know of. I don't believe Shopify does that, even though I'm not a Shopify expert, that monitors outgoing email, because the system can say send an email,
Mm-hmm.
but did it send it? Did that work? It
Yep.
sent the command, but did the system actually send it? So you
Yep.
can install some software to monitor this, to be sure that your emails are being sent.
Yep.
In addition of, does it check out and so on? Can I create users? So you have automated testing like this after any kind of update, and even when you do nothing, just so you're sure your server system is working. And everything you're describing is sort of part of everything that's open source kind of coding that,
Yep.
regardless the platform, Magento, WooCommerce, WordPress, or some other open system, each time you have all those extensions installed, you go to the next version of the extension and the next version of the core, you're going to have some bugs. So you're going to spend quite some time
Totally.
debugging. And it's natural, because the flexibility comes from the fact that you can change a lot of things. Even though they're coding standards, you can change a lot of things. So the
Yep.
next version does not necessarily always mesh perfectly, needs some custom work there to work. Unlike when you have a SaaS system, it reduces the cost by reducing how much you can change. So the fun part is anything you plug in is more or less just going to work right away perfectly, because there's
Yep.
not much you can change. But then if you need to change something, well, there's not much you can change.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's one of I think the biggest things we found when we did have the small Shopify shop for a while in that interim period. That was really our frustration, is like, we want what we want. We have an amazing group of designers who, do all of our recipe site web design, our product design, and we have a very specific vision and look and theme we want to go for. And Magento just allows us to match that as closely as possible to our recipe sites and make that experience seamless, where we could have done that with Shopify, but it wouldn't have been exactly what we wanted. There
Yeah.
probably would have been some differences. So we're really able to kind of, again, I think I've mentioned this many times throughout this call already, is that we were able to really make it what we
Yeah.
want it, what we want. And I think I will mention the other great thing about Noibu and just what we have built between that tool and Magento is we actually have that tool on our staging environment as well. So we actually are able to catch some pretty major bugs in the version upgrade on staging before we actually moved that to production. So we were actually able to catch a lot of that. We actually postponed our upgrade while our developers dug into those fixes. And 2 weeks later, they were fixed and we were ready to go. And I have to say, like our upgrade this week went for the most part pretty smooth. There was just a few like UX things we had to kind of tweak. One issue with just some specific coupon codes, but it was pretty seamless. And I think a lot of that has to do with our developers' ability to really dig into and find issues quickly with this tool.
Okay. Are you using the version that the Commerce Cloud version, or are you self-hosting it?
We're cloud.
Cloud version. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to share with merchants, considering if they want to go on Magento?
Yeah, I guess the other thing I find Magento support to be great as well. Our developers are the ones really kind of working closely if there's ever a ticket needs to be opened. But from what I am looped into, we're typically getting very quick responses, and there's always we're never kind of left hanging when it comes to support needed through Magento. So I do find that support part of Magento to be great. We have our customer account manager. So if there's anything we need, we usually have like a source that we can go to right at Adobe. That's very helpful.
Yeah, and just for anyone listening to clarify, this is when you go with the Adobe Commerce Cloud version, then you get the support directly from Adobe for little things. Adobe will not handle change any code. They will not do version updates for you and so on. This is all done by your third party, by your development company. And just to clarify this, those who self-host, it's called on-premise, you don't have much of that coverage. On-premise, you will have only bugs in the core of Magento, if ever you find one, which is rare. That would be covered by the Adobe support team. Because then when you're on the Commerce Cloud version, Adobe is your hosting company. So basically any support ticket you would send to a hosting company, you send it over to Adobe because they're hosting it.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting benefits for the pipeline and the workflow on the cloud version for what they've built. You could all recreate this manually in a self-hosted environment, but it requires a lot of work and effort that you can just get it out of the box there for faster zero downtime deployment. Technically, it's more like 5 seconds if you want to be precise, but almost nobody is going to click anything for 5 seconds. The website is there. You just don't click for those 5 seconds. Any link will work, or if you click something, it will just refresh again. It will work within 5 seconds. So that's it. You got all those pipeline for zero downtime and so on. That are quite interesting.
Yep.
Cool. That's a pretty good summary. Thank you for the testimonial there. Any last thought to add before wrapping this up?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot there when it comes to Magento. Yeah.
Perfect.
No, nothing.
And if people want to get in touch with you, Tyler, what's the best way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn for sure. It's probably the easiest way. Our email addresses are quite long, so I won't the americastestkitchen.com email address. So yeah, I think LinkedIn it would be an easy way. So yeah, Tyler Sperry, you can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, happy to answer any questions or network where needed.
Awesome. Thank you for being here today, Tyler.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.